My tooth tried to kill me and nobody noticed. So apparently having a dead tooth in your face for 2 decades is really bad. Who knew, right? Literally everybody except the dentist who jammed a rod in my skull and said, "You're all fixed up, champ, just hit the road. That tooth, don't worry about it, it'll be fine." Well, that was a root canal that I got 20 years ago. And it sat there, quiet, harmless, painless, until it started leaking infection into my bloodstream, like dripping a faucet of toxic waste from hell. I was lifting, I was eating clean, I was going to the gym all the time, I was doing the cold plunges, I was doing breath work like Wim Hof, I was fasting, but something always felt a little bit off. A little bit of fatigue, a little bit of brain fog, a little bit of inflammation, my stomach was a little bit off, you know, just kind of a tension that I couldn't shake. I thought it might have been stress, or I am getting older, right? Or maybe I was just getting soft. Nope, it turns out I had a biological landfill festering in my face for 20 years. And not one single doctor ever caught it. Not one. Because they don't look for it. They think they're doing everything right. And the worst thing, they're trained not to. So yeah, this isn't just about a tooth. This is about a broken system that patches symptoms, cashes checks, and leaves guys like me rotting from the inside out. But hey, before you leave, just make sure you pay that $4,000 for the root canal and that crown that's got to go on top of it. So let's talk about what was really going on underneath the surface. I mean, the craziest part, I didn't even know anything was wrong. I didn't feel a thing. I mean, I was doing everything right. I was up at 5 a.m., I hit the gym, I was doing meal prep, I did the cold showers, the sauna, clean food. I mean, if health was a checklist, I was nailing everything. But then one day, I'm talking to my buddy James out at the rig, and we started chatting about root canals. And I told him I had a root canal, and then he mentioned that he asked me if I saw that documentary, Root Cause. Now, James, I mean, he's a bit of a conspiracy guy, to say the least. He loves going down the rabbit holes. And I mean, he may or may not believe that the earth is flat. I'm not exactly sure on that one. But he's a smart guy. He questions everything. And he's usually got some really wild info. Every time I get to see him, it's something new, right? Something that I've never heard before. So I figured, what the hell? I'll watch this documentary. And I mean, it was pulled from Netflix, so that must have meant something, right? There's probably some truth in it. And so after I watched the documentary, I was like, oh my God, this is literally me. This is all my symptoms, every explanation, it had everything in it, and a bunch of new stuff like related to heart attacks and breast cancer in women. And I mean, it was really scary how they talked about these root canals. So I immediately looked up a biological dentist. I found one. He was like 2.5 hours from me. I booked an appointment. I got in to see him. It was just a few weeks later, maybe a month, and he did this, you know, cone beam CT scan, I think it's called, and they go around your whole jaw. And you know, it's none of those old, just plain old x-rays that the regular dentist does, because I mean, I had lots of them done over the years and nothing showed up. But what was on this scan was a big black void right underneath my tooth. It looked like this big circle. You could see it as plain as day. This big, deep infection that, you know, my jaw was just rotting away. And I mean, I said to the doctor, because he checked a bunch of other stuff, and I also had a mercury amalgam filling removed. He told me that can be like a battery in your mouth, because I have 2 metals. I have a gold crown and I had this mercury filling. So I got that removed too. But I mean, the doctor said that mine was really bad, you know, and this could be a life-threatening thing, right? Especially with how long it was there. And I mean, who'd have thought? Because, you know, I guess I felt some things, but I never really linked it to my mouth, right? And anytime I ever went to the doctor for anything, they never asked me anything about my oral health. The dentist never mentioned anything about the root canal, you know? He didn't say, hey bro, you had a root canal. Maybe we should take a look at that, you know? It could be affecting your microbiome. I never heard anything like that. And I mean, you gotta remember, they're not trained that way. So they see a clean x-ray and I mean, you're good to go. Hit the road, bud. Give us their 100 and whatever bucks or something it is to go visit the dentist and get an x-ray and get a tooth cleaning. Well, it's probably like 300 or 400. And meanwhile, my immune system for the last 20 years has been fighting with a rotten piece of bone in my face that has been there, you know, for so long. And I mean, I'm so fortunate that I found it now. But I mean, I'm over here like, you know, drinking bone broth and eating sauerkraut and sipping on apple cider vinegar, trying to be healthy, trying to do the best that I can, while I got this zombie tooth in my face that's just leaking toxins into my body and, you know, just treating my body like it's a toxic sewer dump. And, you know, who knows what that was doing to my gut and the rest of my body. So, I mean, it wasn't stress the whole time. It wasn't gluten. It probably, you know, I was eating clean like 90% of the time. It wasn't the foods. I was pointing the fingers at everything else, but it was this dead tooth that was poisoning me slowly. And I mean, nobody even noticed. Now let's look at how we got here in the first place. Look, I'm not saying my dentist was evil. I don't think anybody in the office wants to intentionally hurt anybody. You know, I'm not saying that the doctors I saw were out to get me. I think most of them, they're just doing their job, right? But I mean, the real problem is the job they were trained to do, it's broken. Medical school, dental school, it's not health school. They're not making people healthy. Most of the stuff they do is just managing symptoms. It's management school that they go to. You come in with pain, they numb it. You come in with inflammation, they suppress it. Nobody's really asking what's happening in the first place. What is the problem? Why are these symptoms showing up? What is the core problem? And I mean, listen, I'll be honest. The dentist that did my root canal, she just opened a brand new practice. She moved into my neighborhood. It was literally a 2-minute walk from my house. I had a cracked tooth. Next thing I know, she's like drilling my tooth out and pretty well cut the whole thing off. I felt with my tongue and my tooth was like half gone. And I asked her, I'm like, well, what are you doing? Well, she's like, oh, you need a root canal and then you're gonna need a crown. Like, she never asked me anything. And I mean, looking back, I was, you know, in my early 30s and I probably should have did something about that because she didn't ask me, she didn't tell me. But I mean, at the time I was a 30-year-old kid, I didn't really care. I mean, I was kind of concerned, but I guess, hey, she knew best. That's what I thought, right? So she cut it off, she drilled it out, she filled in the tooth, she killed the nerve, she cut off the blood supply. And now I'm walking out of the door with a root canal that I never agreed to and a $4,000 invoice to go with it. But hey, everything looks great, right? According to them, a root canal is considered a success in dentistry. And if the tooth doesn't hurt anymore, well, that's it. And I mean, I thought I was fine. I walked out of there, it seemed okay. Never mind that there's dead tissue sealed inside my skull with, you know, 0 blood flow and a 5-star resort for anaerobic bacteria. But I mean, they don't teach that. They teach how to drill, fill, bill, and send you off with a smile. Patient's out of pain, the crown looks good, I paid my bill, high five, let's move on to the next one, right? Meanwhile, that patient, me, and thousands of other people, now that it's coming out, and I mean, I just heard of this, I've had that root canal since I was 33, 20 years, with chronic fatigue, bloating, GERD, you know, brain fog, like inflammation, you know, like tight hips, like all these things, probably that chronic infection, you know, but they don't connect those dots, right? It's just aging or stress. And I mean, this whole thing where, you know, you're getting old and you're feeling better, or you're feeling worse rather. I don't know. Maybe we're just not trying hard enough. That's what we think, right? That's the way they make us feel sometimes. And this is what happens when you train really smart people. These are smart people, but they're getting outdated information and they don't want it to change. They pulled the documentary from Netflix. Like, why? Why wouldn't you want this information out? Because they're gonna lose money. People probably aren't gonna want root canals. And I mean, you gotta remember, they're really confident. They believe in this stuff, the wrong things. You've got the doctors who've never been taught how oral microbiome affects gut health. I never heard of that before. And dentists who think sealing a dead tooth is okay because that's how it's always been done. So why should we change it? People aren't having problems, are they? Well, yeah, they're having lots of problems. That's why people are hearing of biological dentists now. And when somebody like Zach Bush, who I love, trust, he's a great guy, he doesn't have any ulterior motives, he shows up and he says, hey, maybe this is affecting the whole system. He gets labeled as somebody who's on the fringe or he's dangerous. But you know what's dangerous? Normalizing this dysfunction, treating these symptoms for decades while infection keeps leaking. These people, they're not evil, they're just playing on the wrong team. They don't get it, and they don't even know that they're on the wrong team, handing out the wrong information. And you know what? That brought me to the moment where everything changed. That x-ray didn't just show me an infection. It showed me the truth. It showed me that this wasn't just about a tooth. This was the moment that I finally saw it. Everything that I thought was normal was actually really messed up. The medical system that I used to believe in, that I've trusted my life with, I thought they're the experts. They've got the training. They'll tell me if something's wrong. But all they ever did was throw me Band-Aids at symptoms and tell me that I was fine. The food system, I used to eat what they said was healthy. The food pyramid, which should be flipped upside down, whole grains, low-fat dairy, heart-healthy seed oils, cereal getting ranked higher than meat. Now I know it's just a slow death menu designed to keep us sick and tired and dependent on all these meds. And the pharmaceutical companies don't even get me started. They are not here to cure anything. They're here to create lifelong customers, keep you numb and keep you quiet. And of course, pain. And the craziest part, I didn't want to believe any of this. I don't want to think that every system that I believed in my whole life is evil. I used to roll my eyes at people who said things like big pharma or the system is broken. But after seeing what was hiding in my jaw for 20 years, after no doctor, no dentist, no so-called expert ever caught it, I couldn't ignore it anymore. There was signs, there was symptoms that one infected tooth opened up my eyes to the truth. The system isn't built to keep us healthy. It's built to keep us consuming pills, procedures, processed foods. It's all a circle, and it keeps you busy chasing symptoms while they collect the profits. And it's not just root canals, it's everything from the cereal aisle to the prescription pad. It's all one big business. That x-ray, that was the moment. The scan, I stopped trusting the white coats. And I started trusting my gut, literally, and opening my eyes. Here's what I actually did about it. I made the call. I called a biological dentist. I told him, we got to get this thing out. I don't need another opinion. I don't need another, we'll monitor it and see if it's bad. He was right. It was infected. You know, I wasn't fine. I had to get it out. I needed to get that dead, infected, festering tooth out of my body so I could start to heal. And once it was out, I mean, man, it was wild. They took my blood. They took blood from me. They spun it and got the platelets out of it. And then they mixed it with some donor blood marrow. And then they stuffed it into the tooth and, you know, packed it all in there. They were pushing it in. And then they, took the flaps of the tooth after they had pulled it and they sealed it all up, or they sewed it all up first, then they sealed it all up. And, it was crazy because when I left there, the doctor never said anything to take anything about the pain. And I mean, this is a biological dentist, right? And I mean, a lot of, doctors, like you go in there, they're giving you, they want to hand you painkillers no matter what, if you sprain an ankle, right? But, he never gave me any meds, any prescription. He told me to rinse my mouth, let it heal for a couple of days. I could ice it. And he said, no, there was no unnecessary meds, just my own body's tools and the right process to heal it. He told me after I eat, after 3 days, he gave me a sheet just to be careful, rinse with salt water so there'd be no infection every time after I eat. So I've been doing that. And I mean, as I'm filming this video, 4 or 5 days after the surgery, and I'm still a bit swollen, my tooth is gone, I'm still healing, but I already kind of feel better. I feel like my body's starting to heal. And I mean, yesterday was probably the worst day. I could feel my lymph nodes, they were super sore. And I've been bouncing on the trampoline a bit to get that lymphatic system working. And I mean, I know I've got a ways to go. I just got this out and it's probably gonna take a little bit to get all this, infection out of my body and for my body to sort all this out. And it's not like an instant transformation story. And I'll do a follow-up video, once I'm fully healed, because right now, this is just the start. But I can tell you this, the infection is gone. They scraped out as much as they could. They cleaned it all up. And I mean, for the first time in 20 years, my body isn't in defense mode. It's actually starting to heal. And I mean, I've done so many other things to change my lifestyle just in the past, 5, 10 years from when it was like a super unhealthy bodybuilder. And I thought I felt pretty good before. I was eating clean, exercising, moving daily, and but now I'm realizing that there was probably a lot of other things going on there because of this chronic infection. And I mean, when you hear the doctor talk about that, this doctor who knows how this stuff works, who knows how your oral health can affect, everything else in your teeth, not just like a regular dentist. I'm excited to see how I'm going to feel afterwards. And it's not because of some new supplement or because, I talked to this guru and took his course, but it's because I finally found out what the source of maybe some of my problems were. And it was in my jaw this whole time. And I'm done listening to the people who are just profiting off of my pain. It's true what they say when they say follow the money. I'm done outsourcing my health to people who don't know me, they don't listen, and they don't ask the right questions. And this tooth for me, and I hope for you, is just the beginning, because it was a red flag that I couldn't ignore anymore. And now that I've seen it, and I can't unsee it, like my friend Coralie says, once you're aware, you're never not aware. And once you know these things, you're gonna remember them. So listen, if you've been feeling off and you've been told, oh, everything looks fine, everything looks normal, moms know this best. They have that intuition. Amanda knew there was something wrong with our daughter Madeline, God rest her soul, before she was even born. But you know what? They don't listen. They don't listen to our intuition, and you know your health the best. So start asking better questions. And stop waiting for permission to heal. Stop waiting for them to find the solution. You have to be your own person and discover all of these things. You have to do what's best for you. Get different opinions. Go to naturopathic doctors. Read books. Read journals. Watch YouTube videos. You gotta take your health seriously, and you can't leave it in these people's hands because they're not gonna fix it. They're just gonna throw a patch on it. And listen, if you want some help with all this stuff, I love helping. You guys know that. I have access to information maybe that you don't. Maybe I know things that you don't. Or I can get you in contact with people. And I believe the body is trying to heal 24 hours a day, every minute of every second. It's doing everything it can to keep you healthy. All you gotta do is set up the right circumstances. And remember guys, what I say, every passing minute is another chance to turn it all around. It's never too late. And sometimes it starts by pulling out a rotting lie out of your body and finally waking up. I'll see you in the next one.